Hi guys, welcome back to the Market Microstructure series. Today is the third lecture. In today's video, we're gonna talk about complex orders compared to the previous video where we talk about simple orders. So we're gonna talk about pegged, discretionary, and post-only orders. Those are the orders that are provided by exchange or sometimes by brokers. So pegged order. What is pegged order? Pegged order is basically a limit order where you're saying, exchange, please peg me to some reference price, right? Usually it's like national best bid, right? Basically saying to exchange, hey, put me 1 cent below the national best bid, right? Always. So what that means? That means if the national best bid, say, was at $100, right? And say it moved down to $99.99. What the exchange will do, exchange will cancel your order and reprice it at $99.98, right? So again, your pegged order is 1 cent below the new national best bid. By that, what the trader is trying to say is like, hey, the only time I want to actually get executed is when there is a large order arrives on the ask side and goes through the book, right? So basically, executes everything on the national best bid and then goes through my level, right? Executes against everybody who has a higher time priority than me and then me. So basically, he was trying to get a good price, right, by making sure it gets executed only against the very large order on the other side. All right, the next order is a discretionary order. The discretionary order is basically, again, the limit order, but where you have this like discretionary spread, right? So for example, say you're sending order to exchange saying, hey, sell my shares at 101, but if the price of the other side, let's say somebody on the bid side will come in within 5 cents of my price, feel free to execute against that. So basically, you don't show your cards, right? Because people on the other side, they only see 101. But in reality, you're also okay to execute 5 cents below. The funny thing about that is actually the people on the other side, the bid, right, they actually know that most likely somebody's sitting with discretionary orders. So what they do is, let's say if they want to execute something 5 minutes before the close, for example, let's say they have to execute it. Instead of just simply sending the bid at this price, right, at 101 to make sure that they execute it, what they'll do, they'll basically start sending like ladder orders, right? So first they'll send something at 105, then 10, 20, right? And at some point they'll hit your order, right, when they send at 100 at 95 cents, right? But basically that way they get some price improvement. And that's what I do, right? So like it's very common when people have discretionary orders. Right, the last order we want to talk about is the post-only order. Post-only order, it's very tricky. The incentives behind it is very tricky. Basically, it's a limit order, but you're trying to tell to exchange, please don't execute it right away. What that means, it means that you don't want your order to get executed on arrival, right? So say you want to buy something, right? So you're thinking, okay, well, the national best bid on this price, right, at 100, I'm gonna send a buy order at 100. The problem is, by the time your buy order arrives, maybe the ask already moved to 100, and so you get executed, right? So some traders don't want that. So what they can tell the exchange, hey, listen, if I arrive and my order is marketable, right, like it is about to get executed, what you do is you reprice it or cancel it, right? So let's say the trader might say, hey, reprice it 5 cents below, right? So when the order arrives and the ask is at 100, they'll say, okay, listen, like let's reprice the guy to 99.95, right, for example. Guy grow, by the way, there's a lot of good traders that grow. So, or they can say, like, listen, if I arrive and my order is marketable, just cancel it. So the reason they do that is because there's this notion on exchange called rebates, right? Rebates, and the exchange basically pays those rebates to the liquidity providers, the people who provide liquidity. In this case, if when you do order like that, right, when you post it like on the book, you're providing liquidity, so you actually qualify to rebates. And people like that is called makers. because you make liquidity, right? Makers. And people who take liquidity, right? The people who just arrived and right away arrive with aggressive order, right? And then take the liquidity, they call them takers, right? Because they take liquidity. Okay. So you have makers and takers, and the exchange gives you rebates for the makers and charges the takers. Right? That's the whole point of exchange. So yeah, some traders just come out to be better getting some rebates. All right, I hope you guys like this video. We talked about pegged orders, discretionary, and post-only orders. Let me know if you want to know more about this stuff.